Like I was saying before this
Yeah.
podcast, this is not a contraceptive podcast episode. This is great. Having a child is beautiful. Being pregnant is amazing. Giving birth is basically no problem at all. Hi, welcome to 9+9, the honest pregnancy and birthing podcast, where every week we talk to a woman about her journey in making a human and bringing that human into the world. And this week is with me Christina Bauer-Zerdi, who is working for an international logistics company in cargo and is also the mother of a beautiful girl. So welcome, Christina.
Thank you so much for having me.
To set the stage for today, Christina is from Austria and she's going to talk about giving birth in Austria. And because she's Austrian, we've brought all these documents, which we will use to travel back in time and talk about your journey. Yeah, I'm glad. I think this is also a good example for other women of all the things you could possibly do and more that you didn't even know you could be doing, and the things that the government gives to you as well, just in case you didn't document your journey properly. So this is very lovely. Thank you for bringing all of this.
Sure. It was also very nice for me to look into this again, after some time, and also going through really brought me back on the memory lane. So thanks for that.
Yeah, so let's start with the memory lane in the very beginning. When you found out about your pregnancy.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. Yeah, I mean, I knew that something was brewing somewhere, but not very sure. And so 1 month, there was no period. Yeah, okay, can happen. Didn't give it too much thought. We had a beautiful weekend. We went to the, I remember, concert NH7. So it was full party weekend, and then on Monday, I had this pregnancy test ready, I bought it, and thinking, okay, let me see, what's going on here. Monday morning, just before getting ready for work, I did the test, and it was immediately positive. I was like, yeah, can't be.
Maybe you're still drunk.
Kind of still a little in this happy weekend mood, and let's do another one, just to be sure, because. Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah. So, no double check always.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did another one. And again, immediately positive. I was like, okay, so maybe I need to look into this. My husband was still asleep, because usually we have slightly different timings. I wake up early, go to work, and he starts to stay a little later. So then I thought, okay, how do I tell him?
Wake him up.
I wake him up no. This has to be different. So I wrote a very small post-it, which is also still kept here somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, wait, let's go through it. So the massive, oh my God.
This is so it's somewhere here on this. This was a chart paper.
We have prepared a little presentation.
Kind of. That's yours. You see this one. This choti.
Wow. Okay.
That was basically the whole, what to do, when to do. A lot of bureaucratic things also, because I was in India and then going to Austria. So, and that was the post-it. And it's written, call me. Okay, with a heart. And then I think I had an arrow also somewhere. And on the sink, I just left the pregnancy test, the positive one. And then went to work.
And then
got a phone call eventually. It's like, what is that? It's like, there is a chance I might be pregnant. And ta-da. And yeah.
And he was happy?
Yeah, he was happy and couldn't believe it and all of that. So it was a very nice, we were happy. Yeah, absolutely happy about it. It wasn't planned. That was I remember this was in November, and December already had plans to go back home for Christmas. So then, everyone got to know there. And,
were you not scared of telling them so early in the journey already?
I didn't tell, my parents, of course, yes. With everyone else, only when I was then in Austria, and this was around 3 months. This was 5th week, something like that, just about. But by that time, I had to kind of tell them.
Yeah, because a lot of women are...
I know, usually, there's 3 months time. So everyone, in the larger extended Hassan side family, we also kept it later. So they only got to know later, as far as I remember.
But basically, you were just going with the flow and see what the universe brings onto you. Then when you found out that you were pregnant, did you read any books, or did you meet all your mother friends, or how did you go about it?
I mean, there was, in my friend circle at the time, there were quite a few women who either just were pregnant or just deliver babies. So there was a lot of material or, people around who were accessible. So I actually got a lot of stuff from German friends, which they got from Germany. There was this whole leaflets and a lot of these things.
Leaflets?
Yeah, even like, small... like you go to the gynae or to the hospital and then they give you all these things and they just gave the stuff to me about the pregnancy, but then also how to handle the baby. So a lot of practical things and also about bureaucratic jungle, for example, which is again different.
Like the gynae gives a leaflet telling you
what to do,
how to do your school admission.
Something like that. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember, honestly, like everything exactly. I definitely was reading like books, yes, but then also, of course, a lot online. There's this baby forum or something like that, baby center.
Yeah,
what
baby
is it?
center.
Yeah, in each and every country, right? Yeah.
I actually
that
prefer,
is
and so interesting baby center. Every country has a different like tonality to it. Like the Indian was pretty hyper.
Yeah. I guess.
And the German one I actually never read. I only read the UK. UK is the best, I felt. And US is also, the US baby center is quite, like, oh my God.
So remember,
SID.
but it was definitely very different from country to country, correct. Yeah. So it's reading here and there. And that was a lot of resource. I mean, this is massive.
Yeah, that's true.
I think alone with that, you manage in a way.
You manage, that's true.
Or you find whatever you're looking for, right? With whatever
I'm just amazed that a gynec, like a doctor who's supposed to only like check your vitals and everything, would give you information that is actually useful.
Yeah. Yes.
Real life advice, not just your blood pressure is fine or whatever advice that you would expect from a doctor, but actually real advice that helps you in your journey as a mother or as parents. Actually, also was there advice for the father also in there?
Yeah, I mean, I just found like one very funny,
Wow.
funny paper. I can't translate this really in English.
Oh, wow, this is a note, notes like for fathers to be.
For fathers to be, and then some interesting.
The first note is take care of yourself. That's the first note. That's
Isn't
the advice.
take care of the mother?
No, that's the second note.
Oh,
the first note is take care of yourself. Second note is take care of your wife.
Well, I think the second should be the first, but then never, whatever.
Yeah, also assuming that it's the wife and not girlfriend, partner, whatever. No, it's the wife. It's a very German. Okay, and then the second one is how to apply for money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of like bureaucratic stuff involved, and everything has to be, of course, everything has timelines, right? So you have to be on time to
deliver the baby.
Well, I mean that that you can't really completely time like that.
Don't come before 9, please.
I know. But yeah, to apply for all these things at certain timings and before and after, in between, and
Yeah, it even says like the office where you have to go to apply for whatever. Birth registry and their timings and their phone numbers. I think this is great because usually that's the last thing you think about, but then you have to scramble for all these documents when you just delivered your baby.
Exactly. It's very practical. I mean, it's
Yeah, oh wow. And then taxes, interesting. Okay, that's a very German document. But I think actually every country has this, right? You have to register the birth, you have to... You have to make sure that everything is in order, that everybody is informed, all the municipalities. And I think that's where a lot of friction starts already in the hospital with the husband, because you are lying in bed. It's not like you can go anywhere to get the birth certificate. Correct. And he has to get it. And if he's not doing it...
then, even like we had this situation, of course we knew the name, right? I mean, though I was very sure that it's going to be a boy. So I had completely boy's name. Yeah, I was 100% sure. Yeah, there was a sonography which was like, I think I saw something. And so 100% sure, and then it was a girl. What? It's a girl, it can't be. Like completely, it can't be. I know, it's a girl. Okay, and then we also knew the name, but then we hadn't decided the spelling. Yeah? So Hassan was saying something, no, and I said, no, she's going to be spelled like that. And at that moment, all your emotions, whatever. So okay, then and the midwife, she noted down like the spelling that I said, and that was that then.
Great, the midwife listened to you.
Yeah, I think she did.
She was like, yeah, you better listen to her hormonal mother
right now. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, wow. You were so sure that you had a boy. Did you have any
Very sure.
dreams which like told you that it was a boy? You dreamt about the baby.
I don't know if it was a dream, but I saw the sonograph and was so sure. So
Because
that was the moment. Like, okay, it's gonna be a boy. That's it.
Yeah, I guess I still don't know how to interpret sonography.
Yeah, I guess me neither because I got it completely wrong.
But all your sonographies then, was your partner with you or did you do them by yourself? Or how many sonographies did you have also? Because every country is different, I believe, in terms of...
I mean, because initially I was in India, right? So I did everything on the Indian, whatever curriculum, you can say that. So I think the initial ones, I did many of them alone, like the initial where you anyways can't really see much. So which was just the checkups, I did most of them alone. And then there was one, I think it was written on this when we finally went together and when you could already like make out a little bit more and you can actually see like, because before it was like a black hole.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
this, like, what is that?
Yeah. And you also had to do blood tests? Like...
Yeah, regular blood tests. And then we had also, then you have, once you have this organ, well, they check the organs, right, of the baby. That was also a little bigger one. And then your, this RH factor, the rhesus
factor. So that was something where for you, you had to be careful. You already knew in the beginning that
yeah, because I'm negative and my husband was positive.
And then she turned out to be positive.
Yeah.
And then basically, if she has the wrong, if she's positive, she might create antibodies. You might create antibodies and basically kill your own baby.
Something like, yeah, exactly. Yes.
Okay, and then were you scared about this when you found out? Like, were you worried that...
I mean, they explained it that way that it's, it happens, it's something very normal. I mean, normal in the sense that, yeah, we deal with that and then you get an injection and that was that. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, blessed be in modern science.
Exactly.
Yeah, right? Because earlier that would just be eventually
would have
that
been
the
a problem.
child
Exactly.
doesn't grow or worse can happen. Yeah. And also in your blood test, so they check for the rhesus factor and they check for, I think, thyroid, if you have like a thyroid hyper or hypo, like more or
all
less.
The basic
and
details.
For diabetes, and I think with diabetes there was they discovered something.
Yeah, so that was in the, I think, third trimester then in the later stages, so that my sugar levels were high in that, and then you do a few tests, like you repeat it, I think twice or something, and if they're still then okay, then you know that there is a thing like pregnancy diabetes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean there are different levels, and I was just like on the borderline, so I could manage with diet. So I just had to be a little careful in what to eat.
Which is so difficult when you're pregnant. You really just... I mean, either you're just grateful that you can eat whatever you can eat without vomiting, or you're just so hungry that it's really difficult to control yourself.
True. But I mean, it was, because it was in the last stages. So actually, looking back now, I really think that helped me a lot to just save a few kilos, unnecessary extra ones, which were not needed, and like really being a little more mindful of what I'm eating and just being careful, which at the end really helped me. So
what did they tell you to not eat or eat
I mean,
more?
of course, reduce, all the sugars and everything. And I used to have like really big breakfasts. I mean, I still love breakfast. It's my meal of the day. Yeah. I can skip everything else, but
because your breakfast is also so big,
very elaborate,
that you can't eat after
Basically, it's always a brunch, right? So I had to be a little bit careful with that, which was a little terrific, but okay.
So like you have muesli and bread and cake and buns.
Something like that. And now then it was only like the muesli and maybe little small bread.
Okay.
And just basically be careful with the sweets, because that was, of course... And at that time I was in Austria, so, my mama is a great baker and we used to have all the time something or the other. So there we had to be a little... Moderate,
like all the advice that people give you of eat this, don't eat that, which is obviously also then continuous.
I mean, I think in India you have a lot of, there is so much advices, which are like, okay.
Take it or leave it.
Something like that, yes.
But then what advice did you take and what advice did you leave in terms of food? Let's talk about food.
I mean, I was always like I would say a healthy eater, like not completely, also quite all right eating. I tried to have good timings and have early dinners and stuff like that. So this was always my thing anyways. So it was not super out of the ordinary. But okay, during the pregnancy, of course, there were things like, raw stuff that you should avoid, just that you're not getting any infections and things like that. And certain foods
Did you
were
have
there.
5 almonds a day like they tell you to have?
Maybe for some time. Yeah, there were a few things like that. The almonds, yes, I remember, maybe.
Yeah, like the soaked almonds, and then
almonds.
you remove the peel in the morning. And I
Yes.
remember at some point it starts hurting your fingernails
Because you do that. I think that I did for some time.
when you're all excited about being pregnant, and then 6 months in, you're not very
Then
excited.
it's
and
like,
you're
okay.
get it out, get it out. Okay, so then you had the diabetes, but you managed with food.
Managed, yeah, with food, basically. Because if not, then you have to get insulin, which is then obviously...
And then there's also a lot of other real health hazards that can come. Like you can get preeclampsia, and like with high blood pressure, or like even blood clots, clotting. So it's actually something that has to be very well monitored.
Yeah.
But it's nice that you managed just with food. And the power of food, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
It's like
yeah.
how our bodies make the baby without, like, it's just the food that
Yeah,
makes the
that's-
baby. Us and whatever we eat, we don't need to take any injections to make the baby. So.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, it's really amazing how it works.
Yeah, it's amazing how it works. So
Yeah.
when you, so was there anything during the pregnancy that, like, talking about that the body basically makes the baby by itself, but it's also very weird feeling when the baby is being made.
Yeah.
Which I would love to talk about, because a lot of women, I think, in the beginning you don't even know that it's your baby. Like they say, it's like, oh, you're feeling bloated, or
Yeah.
you'll have gas, but it's actually the baby kicking, and then suddenly there's like a foot coming out of your tummy.
Yeah, it's quite alien-like. I felt like, yeah, wow, what is going on? Like, it feels different. You feel like, especially when it starts moving, it's like you have no control over it, right? So it's very, it is very strange initially. Of course, beautiful, but then also very, very weird.
No, I like that you call it it, because that's basically it, right?
Yeah,
it's like
this isn't it.
this foreign
Yeah.
thing. Which
And
has
it
its
also
own-
has weird shapes, right? I mean, it doesn't look like any, like, just, as you said, maybe a foot comes out or something. You're like, really? Ew.
Yeah, and they press against your belly button, and
Yeah.
they're just like, oh, my belly button hurts. Like, can you stop kicking me already? And that continues until after they're out.
Yeah.
Keep on kicking you when you're
In your sleep.
in your sleep,
Forever, I
in your
think.
face.
Yeah. So it is strange. I mean, this is like strange feeling till, of course, you get used to it then. And then it becomes even, like, I think more and more it becomes more part of you then by the end of it.
Yeah, I feel
course.
sometimes even after you deliver the baby, it's almost like you're missing. It's
Strange that's
Yeah.
not there anymore, the movement and all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like phantom feeling. Like you wake up in the night and you're like, oh, I think I got kicked. Wait, the baby's next to me. I can't get, like this, I just dreamt that I got kicked. But I remember that feeling of waking up, especially the first few days after they're out, and you're like, are they in, are they out? You're so delirious. Did I really give birth? Was it just a bad dream? And then you wake up and you're like, oh no, it's real. It's there. And it's not a boy.
And that's exactly, and it's not a boy. Yeah.
But then you gave birth in Austria.
Yeah, so I think on the 30th, when are you, the last week that you can travel, then I went to Austria alone, because my husband, of course, was working and can't be, be for so long. And then I did like all the whatever left checkups and everything was
And
there.
then you
and
got
this is when
this
I got
beautiful,
yeah.
it's called a mother and child passport. And it also looks like a passport, just much thicker, with actually information in it.
Yeah, lots of it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It says all the ultrasounds that you have to get done and what they're checking for, and then even the results of it you've marked there.
yeah.
And then there's the vaccination card, which
Vaccination
is
card.
actually going to stay with you until the end of your life. Like,
Yeah.
because whenever you get vaccinated, it's
yeah,
in
that,
there. And like your weight and all the responses of the baby and of yourself, if you have any issues, it's quite amazing. It goes up until 12 months.
Yeah, I think the first year
Yeah.
completely. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's very nice and very useful. And I think actually every mother has to do these kind of tests and things in Austria. So you more or less, yeah, you have to do it in order to be so covered from the insurance and everything. So
Is there anything else you have to do? Like, I remember you were telling me about the prenatal courses and postnatal
yeah,
courses.
right. Yes, I mean, this is from the hospital then, where the parents are invited.
Invited, may strongly recommend inviting us, like Miss
Yeah.
Doubtfire inviting you for something.
Something like that. Especially with your first child, right? I mean, once you have had, then I think it's not that, then you already kind of know what you're into. But even then, if there was a long gap, for example, in between, then they still encourage people to do it again because there has been, things have changed and, you might as well just, refresh because one tends to forget or to ignore or to just, get over it and you don't have time in your daily life to get back to these things. So they even recommend it then. But anyways, yeah, so you're supposed to join those and they just teach you very practical things.
Like,
a lot of, for the mother, like how to breathe, how to move, what to do during birth, after, before, and how to get back also. And also for the fathers.
what do they teach the fathers?
I think also how to handle the baby, how to hold, how to bathe, like stuff like that.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess because it is more for the nuclear family where you don't necessarily have the support or you live in an apartment in a big city and like
Yep.
it's you and the baby.
Yeah.
And you got to know how to handle them. Don't shake the baby.
Yes, I do not.
I'm like, why would I shake my baby until you have a baby? And you're like, okay, don't shake the baby. Don't shake the baby. It was nice. You got to
Yeah.
learn how to bathe the baby. Did you use like a doll?
Yeah.
Did it scream?
I know.
It's just a baby born.
Yes, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, so it's sweet. I mean, it's a very nice. I find it's a very nice package, and like, I felt very taken care of, by the system in a way. So it was very clear what had to be done and what you have to do, and you feel like very taken care of.
But did you, so actually when the baby was there or when you were in labor, did you recall any of these advices?
Honestly, I remember, there was the breathing pattern you try for some time and you're like, at some point, okay, no, this doesn't work anymore now. Forget it, I just have to survive this.
Yeah.
Yeah. You try, you try and it somehow is back in your mind, it's there, but then...
In the end, you just want to survive the
At the
pain.
end, it's you do whatever you can do and just whatever works for you. I think. It's good to have this, it's good to know that this is what you can do and you try and, it's a good thing. I mean, if you won't have that at all, then I feel it's better to have it, even if you don't do it. But it's still better to have,
No, it's a bit like this podcast. Like you can listen to the advice and then either it makes sense to you or
Exactly.
it doesn't, but at least you know.
Yeah.
And you've heard it once and then you can hopefully use it in the moment.
When you actually need it or
when the epiphany strikes you. And then even postnatal care is something that they offer like to sort out your body.
Yeah, I mean, there is, I think I remember in the hospital itself, I think a physio comes or something like that.
Physio comes,
I think so,
Wow.
yeah. Just to give you like basic, I think there was also a brochure again with exercises, and things that you know.
Did you
should
do all these exercises?
Yeah, 2 years later, I think.
I think it's really
Yeah.
funny that I know you as this, like, when I think Christina, I think yoga and like healthy food. And interestingly, you had a personality before you gave birth.
Yeah, I did indeed.
Yeah.
There was a life before that.
But I've never known you before
Yeah.
that. So it's
right.
interesting that you sort of forget, or it's just buried really deep down. Only Hassan knows who you were before. And that this pregnancy has really, or having a child has really impacted you in the way you live your life.
I think, that is something that has to be clear to everyone who is taking this decision, that it's, completely life-changing. No matter what somebody tells you, it changes everything. Like your perception of your being and of, this being that you have to take care of, it just changes your whole life outlook.
Yeah. And your body.
That's it.
And also all the things that you do with it.
Yeah.
So you discovered yoga while you were pregnant, I believe.
Yeah, so I did during pregnancy. I was fairly fit then. I used to go to the gym, and I thought I'll continue also gym, and I did for some time, but it didn't feel right at the moment. And then I was like, okay, that's not. I just didn't feel comfortable. So I need to look for something else, but I definitely want to be moving. So then I looked up for a yoga teacher, and this really, really sweet lady from the Yoga Institute who came home twice a week. And yeah, we did our stuff, and it was really, really, really great. Yeah, so it was typical yoga, but then also normal exercises, just to keep fit. And I remember she was like, yeah, do the chalu bocha in the house.
Yeah, like
just
you squat
and help your mate a little bit a bit to do the things, and just go around a few rounds in the living room and do that.
in the corner with the cloth.
Cloth.
Really, that helped.
So yeah, and she also saw that I was quite capable of doing a lot of things. So till the end, we were really nicely working out.
But do you think your fitness was maybe also the reason for your birth experience to be fairly pleasant? Is maybe the wrong word.
Pleasant, I would not call it.
Non-traumatic. Like I was saying before this
Yeah.
podcast, this is not a contraceptive podcast episode. This is great. Having a child is beautiful. Being pregnant is amazing. Giving birth is basically no problem at all.
Yeah, I mean, you painted very, very bright right now. Yes, I had a beautiful pregnancy, no doubt. I mean, I really had, no issues. I was feeling great. There was no problem, till the end, of course. And you feel like, this walrus walking, and I feel like, okay, now come out. That's enough. I can't see my toes anymore. Now this is enough.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I was feeling absolutely fine, and I enjoyed it also. So this was not a problem. But then, but the birth itself is, though everything went well, as I said, like I know you had much more traumatic discussions before that. So from that sense, everything went fine and smooth. But non-traumatic, I would still not call it.
Especially because it was really dramatic. Knowing that your husband is an actor, there had to be some drama.
Definitely. So she came in life already with a whole sense of drama.
So how was that?
First child, right? So I went for a checkup, and I had this. Now I was looking up like when exactly was the projected birth date.
Projected due date. I think it was 2 days, 3 days before.
3 days before actually it happened. Yeah. And so I went for this checkup and said, it still takes time and at least a week and so. And Hassan was like shooting cut to cut, and they had to finish something, and it was like really, should I come now? Should I come tomorrow? Da, da, da. I said, we still have a few days, so it's okay. So then he actually landed on, I think 22nd. Wait, sorry, it was 22nd morning. Me and my father picked him up from the airport. We went home. My brother was also there. We had like a nice lunch, met everyone. And this was 22nd afternoon. And then, we went up to my room, put the suitcases, and just started to a little bit undo things and sit down. And Hassan, he was flying the whole night. He had a night shoot before, so he was super tired. So he was just lying down in bed and just like, okay, now take a little nap. I was lying down, and we started a little talking. I was lying down, and then this was amazing. And then it just like went over the belly like that and said, okay, now Papa is here, so all is good. It's time you can come out now. Huh? Did that. We talk, we sit a little bit, and then I like, okay.
She really listened to her dad.
Shit, what happened? And the water broke. Like there and then, like this little 8 afternoon or whatever it was, yeah. So he was just lying down, and you're like, I think the water just went. Like, shit. No,
when I thought I can sleep.
I just lie down. So then I called my mom, like, I think we have some movement here. And she helped us to, things were ready, but then, it's still the final stuff.
And also clean up all the water. It's like liters and liters of water on your bed.
Yeah, and then I went to the washroom immediately and then tried to, figure out what to do. But and then like, okay, we gotta go now. So then the 3 of us drove to the hospital, and and then it was like, they checked and they're like, okay, yes, but because the water broke, then anyways you have to be there, and but they said it will still take time. And it was like so evening-ish. Then I think my mother went home, then Hassan was there. Then slowly labor started a little bit, not too crazy, but it started, and it was going on through the night, and. Hassan was there, but then he was like sleeping somewhere there was some small bench kind of thingy. So at some point he could take some rest. So he was...
Obviously, he hasn't slept in 48 hours or something.
So that was a little Yeah, well.
Like you were all alone with your labor, yeah.
Yeah, it was not like the, but this inducing, what was just coming and coming, it was still manageable. And this went on through the night. So it was like, I couldn't really sleep, but it was not, so it was an in-between thingy, yeah. And then in the morning, I think they gave me so induced me a little bit, yeah. So then things became a bit more heavier. And then I think Hassan went home, like took a shower and stuff like that in between. Yeah, it's not far, right? I mean, the hospital is 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So it's really, it's very, very... And then my mom came, so we did the little turns here. And I was, they give you, I remember they give you, I don't know, some breakfast and they make you walk.
Yeah.
Basically up and down the corridors, just keep moving and, So remember that when my mom came, then I was doing that and then in between that happened. And then Hassan came back. And and then slowly things became more dramatic. And at some point then we decided to do, they had the option of sitting in a warm tub.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, whatever, I take anything right now.
Yeah.
So I had no epidural or anything, nothing. This is also, for example, one thing that you have to tell the hospital before. If you're planning to do that, you need to have a separate checkup for that.
Or for the epidural, yeah.
So like, if you have the stigma, then they can give you, and if not, then they cannot even give it to you.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah.
So once you're in it, you sort of know that
kind
you have
of.
to
I mean,
push
it's
through
kind of. I mean, I don't know if they would still give it, but then ideally you have to have this one session.
I mean, it's not like you're in labor and you're like, sure, take my blood. I can sit still and you can like find my vein and like check if I'm all right.
So ideally you have to like, at least have this tick mark so that you can, you can decide there and then.
You can decide there and then, okay, yeah.
So like that.
But you were like, I'm strong, I don't need
anything. Nothing of the sort, but I said, like, I don't know, I'll see however it works, yeah. I mean, if it works, it works. If not, then... See, the thing is, I mean, we all have this, of course, we have this idea of, okay, how do I imagine the birth, how it's imaginally should be. But I would say in most of the cases, it's never happening the way that you think of. And that is actually also the traumatizing part for a woman, right? You have this nice vision and then everything just goes completely different.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do you deal with that? And that's very, very difficult. So I try to not have this. I'm trying because, I mean, of course you have it automatically, but you have this, okay, in a way you also want to visualize because, there's so much power in visualization and that's what, that's the other thing, right? What you get to hear. So in a way, okay, you should, but then should not. Right. But then be open for let the things come as they come. So I think that is important and not beat yourself up that it didn't go the way that you visualized it. Yeah. So anyway, so then I was sitting in this tub and that was, it was a good, I mean, it was not that it got any easier or anything.
No,
but
it
was
didn't help you, water.
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. It was a change and it was a little helpful, yes, I'm sure. And just even having this change of, sitting down and walking and whatever you did before, at least it was a change. But it's not like suddenly become like, yeah, man, that's easy. Yeah. Nothing of that sort.
No, you're like I'm about to die
exactly
to maybe I'll die in 2 hours.
Something like that, yeah. So good. But then from there I was like, okay, now. And then we went, you go to the OT. Yeah, that happens. And basically I think I had one doctor, so the midwife and I think one doctor. And Hassan. And actually Hassan was not prepared. Right? So actually he had this all the time, like, will I be there, will I not be there, what will happen, And like, I mean, that time, there was no time for anything. So obviously he was around, so all the way he came along, right? And then he's like, and then we are in this OT and he's like, okay, now I'm here. I mean, I didn't know, whatever he was, but that's what he told me then later. Now I'm here.
Like, I didn't know I would be here.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and of course he was there throughout. And for him, it was also like, he had not planned it that way. Yeah. So that for him was a little.
Yeah, he said that you, as a man, you have to come to terms with it because you're only intellectually there and you don't feel what your woman is going through and you're just seeing it. I guess it is a very different experience. Surprise for him.
Yeah, totally.
And then she was out and.
And then he was also cutting the cord. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, I had a really nice team of the midwife and the doctors, was also a lady doctor, and So that was really nice. And basically only 2 people and, that's it. So it was not like
Yeah, it was
him
quite
and,
intimate.
yeah,
it sounds a bit like a
quite.
coffee party. Like they were just like, yeah, and then there's this woman giving
Yeah,
birth,
right.
and then
Yeah.
the cord.
Yeah, well, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then they let him cut the cord, and yeah, and they directly gave her to me.
Skin to skin
And,
contact.
yeah, skin to skin immediately, and she immediately drank. And this was the weirdest feeling ever. What is that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really weird, no? Like, oh,
I just felt like finally my boobs have meaning.
but yeah, also, yeah, I finally have boobs. That was actually nice.
Oh, that was a nice feel. Good.
Yeah.
Those were the days. Yeah.
And she immediately took into it, and yeah, then I mean, so they give you, and then you still lie there, and all the, yeah, whatever stuff is happening.
Yeah, and they're stitching you up.
Stitching you up, and placenta, and yeah, all that stuff that you just like kind of,
I don't want to say, I just want to look at this beautiful little
Actually,
human.
what I also realized for a long time after the whole birth and everything, like this part of the body, I didn't want to have anything to do with.
Yeah.
I was like, that I don't care about right now. I don't care whatever. This is not existent. I just don't want to talk to you ever again.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I had this feeling for many months,
Yeah.
if not years,
Uh-huh.
that you feel like
Completely.
I know too much about my body. Like now I know too much. And
Yeah.
how do I undo this TMI in my
Yeah.
head about the things that happen down there?
Yep. So I completely like, okay, whatever you are, just, no.
Yeah, just stop bleeding.
Yeah,
and-
just, I don't want to see you want nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, but she was immediately hungry, which is a continuing
yeah.
story, which
Yeah, yeah.
also made your breastfeeding journey, I think, rather
Yeah.
short.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, she was, I mean, I was the first weeks or months, I was just, I said, like, I'm the cow right now, like, completely, like, she was, I remember I made, what do you call it, Stricheln?
You made
notes, like,
notes,
little
like,
lines to count how many feeding times I had. And I think I've written it down somewhere. One day it was some 17 times or something like that. Yeah, so it was really crazy. I mean, it was, but someone like, I don't know.
Good, she should read this book when she's older and has a child
I think
herself, if she ever has. It's like,
somewhere I have written it down, I don't know. But this was quite, it was challenging. So she was hungry, yes, indeed.
yeah.
Anytime, any time of the day, night, whensoever. And this really goes throughout her. Like, we had never any issue with food.
Which is beautiful.
Which is nice, absolutely, because I've seen other children which didn't go that easy, right? And many mothers have also issues with the feeding, whatever. So, yeah, that was really nice. But then she started to show signs of wanting more than just milk at around 4.5 months. And then we checked with the doctor, and like, yeah, try it out. I mean, if she's taking into it, then she's ready, right? I mean, yeah. Actually, I don't really exactly know when was the time when I stopped feeding, because it was so gradual and so natural.
Really baby-led.
Completely.
She's like, I want this.
Yeah. So, yeah, so didn't force anything, and yeah.
Wow.
So at some point it was just over.
Wow.
Which is also, then this one phase is gone.
And it's never going to come back, yeah.
Yeah.
But then you can focus on recovery and not hunching anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And like sitting properly straight. Like I'm realizing I'm really hunching compared to should do more yoga.
Trying to.
Yeah. But that is a beautiful ending to the whole story.
Yeah.
And there was a cherry on the cake, giving birth in like an Austrian village sort of setup. Which I think is unique. Also, it's a vineyard area. So were you allowed to drink wine during pregnancy? Did you drink? Only good Austrian wine, obviously.
Yeah, not really.
No, you weren't?
Maybe you had a sip somewhere, like when I was back, but not really.
Because I read this book, this French pregnancy book, and it said that doctors allow a woman to have like 1 to 2 glasses of red wine a day in pregnancy, depending on how much she was drinking before that.
Okay.
Like if you drank a lot, you can have 2. If you didn't drink much, you
Then
can
you
have
should
1.
not. Okay.
And I discovered this after giving birth, and I was like, if I would have known that this is fine,
maybe things would have turned out a little,
yeah,
a little
more
easier.
relaxed. But I thought maybe in Austria, because it's such a part of the culture that you have wine, especially in a wine area, vineyard area, that you have wine with your food, that this is also something
Yeah,
they're more
but during
relaxed about.
pregnancy, during pregnancy it's quite.
Nobody's relaxed during
No.
pregnancy.
I mean, yeah, but not like these things. Like coffee, I also avoided. It was coffee, less coffee, or decaf coffee. And no alcohol, basically.
Yeah, even into breastfeeding, right? You
Yeah,
didn't have coffee.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or like maybe once in a while only, but yeah, actually, I think during feeding now, probably not at all. Yeah. And a few foods that you get told that you should avoid, just to ensure that there is no bloating and stuff like that. Remember, I don't know.
Yeah, you can't
onions
have like onions and
gobis,
garlic and chickpeas and all the
yeah.
pulses.
Yeah. So that was, yeah. Just try to avoid, yeah, because you don't want to, if I can avoid it, it's just a few months that I have to be a little careful. If it helps, it's good. If it's not helping, it's not a problem, right?
Yeah.
So I just feel, why would I push it?
That's true. I take the risk of not
Exactly.
sleeping a night that they are gassy and you can't sleep just because you ate. You really wanted to have those chickpeas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then you had a special guest when she arrived, which I think blew Hassan's mind. This is where I want to end the story because I think it's so unique. Of course, there's this sort of experience of giving birth in different countries and giving birth in Austria and being Austrian and bringing all these lovely documents, but and being so thorough with them.
Yeah, well, I mean, it looks a little messy, right? It's not like, well, it's just a lot of...
But still, like, you have all this... So I think every culture comes with their own experience of birthing, but then specifically in an Austrian village, which is different from Vienna or Innsbruck or Salzburg, you had a little icing on the cake. And
yeah, I mean, the village is like really tiny, right? I mean, in the Indian context, 500 people is like, what, a house or something like here, like, right, in Bombay. So it's really, really tiny. Yeah, and you can imagine that, I mean, how many children are born? Maybe one a year, maybe sometimes two. Maybe there are 10 in 1 year, yeah, but this is like really a lot. And so each and every child is special. So yeah, after, I don't know, a couple of weeks or something, the mayor comes home and you get a little, what do we get, like I think a hamper kind of thingy or a voucher, and I think even a little bit of money kind of, yeah.
Wow.
For the baby, and thanking you that,
Thank you for creating more population in our village and then leaving off to Istanbul.
Right. Yeah, stop over on the way back to India.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was also interesting when we came back when she was about two and a half months.
Yeah, flying with a newborn.
Oh God, I mean, it was of course like scary, super scary. But I think what I remember, it was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, what I find very, very easy and convenient when you breastfeed, you really just don't need anything with you, right? So it's very, very simple to just, whenever she cries, I mean, just have something over you and you can manage. And I remember that I think she was initially like a little bit, but then the rest of the flight she slept through.
Yeah, they're also so small, they just want to be in your lap. And
So that's more actually, I remember a much more difficult flight when she was just started to run as a walk. Oh, this was much more difficult to handle.
Yeah, no, you came back and you're like, everyone in the airplane knows.
Exactly, yeah. Everyone.
It's all funny in hindsight.
Yeah, but that moment is like...
Yeah, take flights with your kid before they can walk and then just don't until they can start talking.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good advice, yeah? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I read that advice somewhere, so my advice. Okay. Take the credit for it.
Yeah, so I mean, and the mayor visit definitely blew my husband's mind because like, why would the mayor come for a child? Like, yeah, it is special here. It is.
She is special.
It definitely was very, very special. But that moment, because we were also saying, it was not traumatizing at all, but I remember talking to my closest friends when they came to visit, I think first time, and it's like, I don't know how to process this in my head. Like, I have still like kind of nightmares, and like you go through this, and like, what the fuck just happened? Though it was nothing like it was an ordinary thing, right? There was no major complication or anything. It was their thing, a normal thing. But still, and then I was, you always read, you forget about it. Yeah, because I was wondering, how do you get another child after that? Like, how do you do it? I mean, you can never forget
How do you even have sex after that?
That is another story. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't want to talk to this part of my body for a long time.
Yeah.
And it changed, I mean, and it's a long time. It's not like, as I said, like it's not a week or 2 weeks or whatever. It's a long time.
Yeah, before we spoke today, you found this post, which I found was beautiful, which said that it takes physical recovery 6 months.
Yeah.
Hormonal recovery is 2 years.
Yeah.
And
what was the
emotional recovery,
5 years,
finding yourself back
finding
is 5
yourself,
years.
right? Yeah, which I think is a very true timeline. I think that's as much as it takes.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, this podcast is 9 plus 9 because we think, I mean, it's just very catchy. That's why. And they say, oh, it takes 9 months to make a baby and 9 months to give birth to a baby, to like give birth to a mother, basically becoming a mother. But no, it takes years. And I think you just have to be aware of that they tell you your life will change.
Yep.
Like, you can't even imagine how your life will change. I
Absolutely.
think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming, Christina.
Thank you so much for having me.
Lovely, lovely talk and very refreshing. And I hope it all put you in a good mood and very hopeful towards your pregnancy journey. And that even if it's not exactly like what you hoped, and it starts with sleepless nights and never ends until 5-10 years later, whatever, however many years it'll take. But I hope you all enjoyed this. And if you have a story that you want to share or have any feedback, you can email us at 9+9, 9+, 9 @harcut.in. And this podcast was produced by Harcut Studios. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you, Christina.
Thank you.